Hello, everyone, and welcome to Auto Asphyxiation. This is Lark,
And Kimberly.
right? And today, it was we're talking about we're always talking about heavy issues, but and today is no exception. Um, we were on the internet, and as we often are, and we kept hearing about people talking about Gary. Like, what about Gary? They're talking about Gary, Indiana, and I have to say, I was very annoyed about it because people will be like, "What about Gary?" And I'm like, "What does that even mean?" Like, you know what I mean? Like when I heard it, I didn't even understand like what it meant. Um, and like, so in August, do you want to go over what happened or?
In August of 2026, there was a powerful derecho. I'm probably massacring that. Which are wind gusts up to 99 miles per hour near Gary, Indiana. They were comparable to a Category 2 hurricane, and they caused widespread damage to trees and power lines. A derecho is a widespread, straight-lined, long-lived windstorm associated with severe thunderstorms. And they cause hurricane force winds, heavy rains, and flash floods.
Yeah, so I mean, it was like, and then I guess what happened is like 36,000 people without power initially. I don't know if that means like more people.
No, there were actually more people out
Yeah,
of power initially, and there's still I think, hold on one second.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's like there's still a whole bunch of people like, weeks, two now it's 2 weeks after the storm. It's still people are still they don't have power, they don't have water. They have like sewage backups, like street light failures. It is, refrigerators, there's like nothing, severe severe flooding. And it's the Midwest. And I think the thing is that first off, what I knew about Gary, and I might be wrong, Michael Jackson's family is from Gary, Indiana.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think I
I
think
think that's correct.
thanks to the internet, we could find out right away. But I have to say, I didn't realize that Gary was a predominantly African American town. I did not know that. That was something I don't know if you knew that. Is this
I
common knowledge? I
I
don't know.
did know that because yeah, he was born in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
I did know that because that's where Michael Jackson's from.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess
And that's why he was not when they filmed the Beat It video, and he was like, let's just go out and like find gang members and make this video. And they were like, you're crazy. And he was like, I'm from Gary, Indiana.
oh, so that's what he meant. 'Cause I was like,
Yeah.
I never understood what the hell that meant. I'm like,
Yeah.
so like what does that mean exactly? I don't understand what that means. Um, but now I do. I understand what he was trying to say. And I guess too, I guess maybe to him, like, because I know in LA he lives in like Sherman Oaks. So I guess he was like, that to him was, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things going on with that statement, but because I had no idea that's what he was trying to say. But I do remember that statement. I'm from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
But Gary, Indiana sits on the southern edge of Lake Michigan, and it's like, you know this is kind of like a preview what to come. Like essentially, areas that have we call it infrastructure that is failing. The federal government has abandoned us, and now we're in climate crisis. So this is going to happen a lot more.
Well, that's a really big deal is that this is not the first place that has been abandoned by the federal government or FEMA. Even in red states, like Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders has applied for FEMA aid numerous times for flooding damage from storms and been denied. It's you're three times You're 3 times more likely to be denied if you're a blue state, but the even red states aren't getting any kind of FEMA aid right now.
Yeah, and apparently, Indiana, like apparently at one point was a swing state, but now it's firmly red, which is Republican, which now just means fascism. And Gary, Indiana is an all-black city within this red fascist government, which within a state, which makes it which makes it very susceptible to being used as a football in a political manner. But also, I think what's really interesting is how it's being used by, I don't know, like I don't know how to explain it. There's something about the way that people who I even now I've even found myself in regards to, remember we had a conversation about DEI, we have a conversation about social justice, we have a conversation about the nonprofit industrial complex. It's something about how people are talking about Gary, Indiana, which is bothering me. I don't know like what it is exactly. It's just because it's like I don't see people like, I wish like this wasn't the first time other than Michael Jackson, I wish this wasn't the first time I had heard about it. And the way that people are talking about it is like Gary is a symbol for a bigger problem. Like, and it's like, but they're people. They're not,
There's, yeah, like while Gary, Indiana is, I always feel like I'm talking about a guy. I can't
yeah,
help
yeah.
it. I always feel like I'm talking about a guy. While Gary is kind of a sign of what's to come, there are still people suffering there that we need to have empathy for and help them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like I think about when when they had the fires and things. Yes, the fires in they were going on in LA, and they had fires in like I think it's the I want to say Pacific's Palisades, and they had fires in Altadena, and everybody was very much like, oh my gosh, these are people, they are human beings. We have to help them, but even when people are kind of like saying they're not writing about Gary, they're using it like, oh, let me use Gary to talk about a larger issue. Like when there were fires in California, when the Pacific Palisades fires broke down in Los Angeles, it wasn't like this, oh, we're going to use the fires in Pacific Palisades to talk about a larger issue. And I kind of felt like because people would have been like, "Oh, these are human beings now. How are you going to talk about us like we're a symbol of something? Like how like if you like when I remember, and I'll tell you something, I got some real pushback when I was talking about the Palisades and the fire, and I was saying this is a symbol of like you know of the climate crisis, and these fires, these constant fires in Los Angeles shows that the weather is changing and there are going to be more fires, and these and we're going to have to do something about it. We're going to have to build differently. We're going to have to create, do things in a different manner. We can't have the people out in the boonies, even though Pacific Palisades wouldn't call themselves the boonies, but they're kind of out there where you can't get fire trucks there, and also just they have lots and lots of property. And I remember talking about it in that manner and people kind of being like, how dare you? How dare you talk about my $1 million house? How dare you talk about me like I'm some symbol for some, in regards to the climate crisis and weather, and it's a lesson. How dare you? Like it was very kind of like, you don't do that because these are rich people. These are rich people who are not racialized people. But in Gary, Indiana, even in, I want to call like the nonprofit solutions journalism sphere, they're doing it. They're instrumentalizing them. They're objectifying them. It's like, I mean, I'm not trying to do that again, but just trying to, talk about, oh, wow. I guess again, I was really mad about how when this horrible thing happened, 2 weeks of almost like a blackout of news, how no one, what people were just, what they would say was like, what about Gary? I don't know if that was some kind of narrative, like they all decide, solution journalism people decided we're gonna just ask the questions and then people will look into it. Like, what kind of like teamwork was that? That was a weird like strategy.
Yeah, like there I really feel like it's been kind of like largely ignored by legacy media.
Yeah,
It hasn't been talked about enough. And for obvious reasons, like legacy media now is owned by the fascist government, so or
yeah,
people affiliated or adjacent to the fascist government.
yeah.
Um, so like there's little funding, there's no attention. It just hasn't been talked about in a serious fashion enough.
Yeah, and I think this is something that happens to Black people where it's like you're in a situation where you're over amplified and you're invisible at the same time. It's almost like you're talked about in a pathologized way so much. So when something bad happens to you, it's like, well, yes, of course, you're Black. This is supposed to happen to you. So it becomes like your pain becomes invisible. Like you as a human being, you cease to exist because you only exist in a symbolic manner. So when something, when you get run over, it's kind of like when in the United States, when they try to paint homelessness or people who don't have houses, they always try to not bring up the fact that it's Black people because they say, oh, if it's Black people, there won't be any sympathy. Oh, if it's Black, like in regards to even New Jersey, in regards to who's getting run over by cars, they're like, well, if we say it's Black people, then people won't care. And it's kind of like this weird acceptance, like, yeah, we're going to use this to talk about an issue, but if we want to actually solve the issue, we have to make sure it's not looked at as a Black problem. But if we want to talk about it in a pathologizing way, then we have no problem using Blackness to talk about it. So it's like, I mean, you know there's history in Gary. There's history of things that people have done. I mean, outside of Michael Jackson being born there, and I kind of wonder, because a lot of times they have this thing in solutions journalism, we're talking about local news, and I feel like Gary, Indiana was not viewed as being important as a part of the historic Rust Belt, but it's not viewed as being important because it can't be used in a political fashion the way maybe the South can. The South is like, oh, Gary, Indiana, we don't need to write about that because there's not enough Black people to swing to swing the vote. There's not enough Black people to instrumentalize. So when we say, oh, we want to amplify voices that are silenced or we don't hear, really they're saying we want to gain control of the narrative of places that we can instrumentalize the people. So the South, if you're Black in the South, they want to go there. But if you're Black in the Midwest, not so much. They kind of don't really want to be bothered with you. Even though they have like all this great stuff there, like they have Lake Michigan, I guess. So they have like a beach called like Miller Beach. They have Marquette Park. And I mean, I again, I wish I knew more, but even I feel like the local media in regards to like even the hyper media has missed it. I don't know, or the distribution of it. I think this is something it's very interesting.
Has it come across any of your feeds, some of the stuff that's come across my feed about so fascist groups and organizations, businesses, I'm gonna have to look it up now, um, have noticed the hole in local media
Mm-hmm.
and are starting to fill it with right-wing propaganda.
Oh no, this was happening in Los Angeles. I told you about this.
This came across my feed the other day though, because they're like seriously like they're like revving up the gears.
Yeah, they're going into the Midwest. They're going like I did read that, and they were from another. I want to say which country. It was from another country, wasn't it? It wasn't even the United.
No,
It
no, it
was.
was the United States.
It was a U.S. Well, yeah, but I know that they were like fascists, and they said they were going to go into the holes of these local areas, and they were going to feed. And because they had started doing that in, I have to say, in Black Los Angeles, I told you, lots of Republican and right wing operatives were trying to give me money to talk about their talking points, to talk about how abortion was wrong, to talk about homosexuality, like homophobic stuff. And I remember reading it, and I'm like, no, I'm not putting this in my paper. But the thing is that they were literally like, we'll buy, we'll give you free content. We'll give you, because the thing is, that's another thing too. If you have a small paper and you want to be able to fill it with stuff, you either can write it all yourself because there's no, because you don't have money to pay people. So you write it all yourself, or somebody can come in and go, oh, I'll do this for free. And so this is a good opportunity for people who are like fascists to come in there. And I think that, foundation funded media or foundations that want to fund media, they can't just be selfish. They can't just go, well, we're going to write off Indiana as a place to maybe flip. So we're not going to spend our dollars there. We'd rather try to spend it in Georgia or North Carolina or places or Wisconsin. There are places that are flippable because, but then, a place like Gary, Indiana gets essentially left out of the media, not talked about. The people are literally, people are dead behind this. There are going to be a lot of dead people, and they're going to have a lot of situations where you have like Katrina, where there are people who never recover from that. That
Yes.
happened, and
Yeah.
they had to move. And there are a lot of homeless people now, right now in Los Angeles. I remember one of they had the something dome or something like that. I forgot what it was called. But in LA, they had people who were from Katrina, and a lot of them became homeless. Like they don't really talk about that, but that's the thing about Katrina that I think we should talk about. The amount of people who ended up being homeless behind Katrina. They moved them out of Louisiana, moved them to Texas, moved them to California, moved them to all these places. And then at the end, it was like, well, it's been 10 years now, 20 years now. And people never recovered from that, especially from a small town. You have small savings, they move you, you're done.
I found so this is from 3 days ago. It was published by Raw Story by Matthew Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
White nationalist leaders gathered in Rome, Italy this year to map out how they could exploit America's collapsing local news industry, openly
Yeah.
celebrating the death of community journalism as a golden opportunity to organize unchecked in rural areas.
Yeah, that's why I remember it was
So
in Italy.
it was in Italy, but it was about American media.
Wow, that is, I mean, I think this is really,
I
really
mean,
important. Go ahead.
it is really, really important. Like, I mean, Italy is a birthplace of fascism.
Oh, that's so sad. And then the food is so good. So, um, yeah, that's my had a whole bit about that. Like, yeah, but try this pizza. Yeah. Anyway, it is, yeah, it's disturbing. And I think that, like the Blue Dog mainline Democratic Party, in regards to being the competitor, I don't know if Foundation Media is up for the challenge to fight against um active fascists that want to actually make fascist news entertaining. I
No,
don't know if the whole
I don't think that they're ready at all.
I don't think solutions
I don't
journalism
think
is going to it's going to fill that hole, because all it is a circle jerk for funders. It's not reaching
we're
the people.
we're at a place where journalists are lied to at a daily basis by the administration or the head of the administration, and they don't do anything about it. They don't like very rarely are they questioned. Very rarely is there any like follow up or anything like that. So no, they're definitely not ready for a fascist takeover of small rural local media.
And I think that this is something. I mean, even if you think about New Jersey, right? We have these small medias that are funded by foundations. But who got involved in the election? We did. Who got involved in the actual election and went fisticuffs with people who were not who we didn't agree with? We did, and then we are not running for office. Now there are people who got
Hell no.
involved, but they were running for office. That doesn't count. Like if you are running for office and you have a beef with somebody because you think you would be a better puppet than the other person, that's not the same thing that what we're doing. We're saying for people who are literally are not running for office, who are nonpartisan, that the local media in New Jersey who that wasn't legacy, what they were doing was calendar events. And when they did talk about racism, it was from 1960. Do you know New Jersey used to be racist in 1960? Let's talk about it. Like what? This
Oh,
is what we're doing now?
only in 1960.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Only
And
in
I think
1960.
and
It,
because
it came to a resounding stop right at 1960. Like the clock ticked over at midnight and it was just no more racism in New Jersey.
I just loved how there were people were just kind of like don't want to be involved in local politics. I'm like, well, what's the point of having local, hyper local media and foundation funded journalism to support the whole in community media when you don't talk about politics and you just are an event calendar that is a simp for nonprofits from the Ford that get funding from the Ford Foundation. Like what exactly are you doing? Because I'm not trying to be like horrible, but literally the local hyper news competition outside the people who have beef because they're running for office and feel they can be better. I'm a better puppet than this one. Um, but outside of that, what are they doing?
Well, and I feel like, I think that like the lack of real local journalism is the reason why we see things like that Nazi show that took place like under the radar that got rescheduled. Like it's because like there's not enough people tracking that like a
And Daryl's
proper
not funded.
journalist would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Daryl, he's another person who he's also not funded. He why didn't the people who get literally, New Jersey gives people $100,000 checks. Why didn't any of those people uncover that? Like
Yeah.
why did Daryl, who's literally pasted his one people's project, Idavox, who's essentially his project is pasted together with some duct tape. How did he find out about the Nazis and people who have and not even a lot funny? I'm telling you, like $100,000 is really not that much for a year to run a media project, but people like Idavox and us, we get nothing. And I feel like we're doing more with nothing. It's almost like that money makes people afraid to do anything or to actually challenge hegemony because hegemony is paying them.
It absolutely does because and that's it. Hegemony is paying them. So that check comes with a certain, list of rules, I'm sure, of what you can and can't talk about or like subjects that you should avoid. Or people are just like afraid to lose their funding, so they start to avoid controversial subjects.
Yeah, we do understand, like, and I think this is something funders have to understand. We have to be allowed to do journalism. Um, Journalism is not, oh, look, my friend has a project on how to end homelessness. My friend is doing tiny houses. So can you write a story about how my friend's tiny houses will solve homelessness? Oh, another story. I have a friend who's teaching children from the inner city how to write in cursive. Can you do a story about how children will get better test scores if
That
they do this cursive? this is literally what
That's an essay. That's an essay. That's not journalism. Journalism is like stuff that like Aaron Parnas is doing right now. Like Aaron Parnas goes to like the hospital that Mitch McConnell was at. Like has gone to Mitch McConnell's house. Like I don't think that man ever sleeps, and he has like a newborn.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Like
He's always like doing it. He's like, "Hello, I'm Aaron." I'm like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
what are you doing up, bro?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, this is like, and this is the thing. This is not what foundations are funding. It's like they keep saying, "Oh, we care about media. We want to amplify voice." What do you mean amplify? What do you mean by amplifying voices? Like amplify a voice to talk about your pet projects? I don't care about this. Like I do not care about a backpack giveaway. We actually
Oh
need
my
like
God.
journalism. I'm really confused.
That's a flyer.
AI flyer. It's called, we should call some journalism AI flyer journalism because literally that's what it is.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I read that is like just kind of clickbaity is just either AI generated, AI edited, like or just so poorly written and put out that nobody cares.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think that this is, again, this is going to be a problem because now they're going to probably go, oh, now that people are looking at it, now we're going to give funding to it. But why do people have to die? Why does something this extreme have to happen before people go, oh, this let's fund this. Let's and not only that, I think we need another model. I think we need a cooperative model. I don't know if like everybody who loves journalism can get together and all like fund like a big project we all put in for that. I don't really know if I don't know if the foundation model is working. I do see like, I think people understand the right understands the power of media. I don't feel like the left completely understands because they're still doing stuff like, okay, I actually think it's a good idea to go out there with your signs and all that stuff. But if you have money, you need to fund media. We need, media costs money to do. It costs money to have like do videos. It costs money to edit stuff. It costs money to have a website. It costs money to put stuff out there. And if you don't have media, you don't have democracy. Amartya Sen says this. If you don't have media, you don't have democracy because you don't have an educated, informed public. And people might think like, oh, this is our fault. This is why, we weren't responsible. That's why we're not getting FEMA. Or, oh, these people, they don't deserve it. Because that's the thing too. Eventually, 2 weeks from now, I mean not 2 weeks from now, but when it takes this long to get help after an emergency, then you have this weird um people start getting desperate. And then they're going to start writing about, oh, people are rioting now. I'm like,
Well,
no, that's not
no,
rioting.
that's people screaming for help. Like, it's a sad state of affairs that it's not being talked about or taken seriously enough. That there is no help even going to Gary, Indiana at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly. So also too, we're gonna put a link on where you guys can help Gary, Indiana, especially, it, I'm gonna try. Actually, what I really want to do is try to get someone from Gary, Indiana here to be on this show. But the problem is that we don't really know people who live in Indiana. We don't know people. But
I gotta go through my friends list on Facebook.
yeah, yeah, like let's just see like who lives in Indiana. But
Yeah.
also too, because of what's happening there, the power is out. So they really can't like get on and talk about stuff. It's like this is very, very bad. This is
Yeah.
something that I
Well,
wish that I knew more about, like other than people than seniors and churches handing out stuff. Who knows? But also too, again, this is all part of the nonprofit industrial complex. We see now the federal government is very important. this whole idea like, oh, we can all just do mutual aid. No, you can't do mutual aid when the power goes out and the food all rots and the
Well,
distributions like totally go, but you can't just
people
mutual
are
aid that.
people are having to throw away their insulin and like their refrigerated medications are spoiling, like that's money getting flushed down the toilet, in addition to the food, a lot of people in racialized areas don't have great health insurance, so they might be paying out of pocket for that insulin. It's a whole ripple effect and a whole lot of people are being harmed right now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a sad state of affairs.
And it does really remind me of Katrina. And like when we had Hurricane Sandy, I didn't have power for 2 weeks.
Oh man,
And it's like, I mean, like little by little, like you could see that it was, things were getting worked on and whatnot, but like that it was bad enough that I didn't have power for 2 weeks. And like people had it way worse than I did. People's homes were destroyed, like and flooded and whatnot. So um not having power was fine. But it's really difficult and disheartening after a while when you don't have power for that long and that like all of the food in your like my refrigerator, we had just gone grocery shopping.
yeah.
Like my refrigerator was like stocked full, my freezer had like backup food in it and stuff like that. Like you just know in like all the money that's being wasted, like it really is difficult to live without power for a long period of time,
No,
especially when there's no now you're not just talking about like I could go drive somewhere and there would be power and I could go get food. Like there's like you're talking about such a huge swath of an area that people can't go to get food.
yeah,
The grocery stores are closed. The food in the grocery stores have gone bad. Like,
horrible, horrible. Well, with that, I remind everybody to please Substack, YouTube, um, Spotify, and that is it. That's it. Is there anything else you would like to add, Kimberly?
I think that's it. Thank
All
you
right.
so much. And yeah, please hit the link and donate if you can to help Gary.